So if you guys missed the last video on this channel, you guys may want to actually take a look at that. I'm going to drop the link in the description because WWE released 10 superstars from their roster. This was actually 1 year directly after the the huge spring cleaning that they did in 2020 at the start of the pandemic. So if you guys missed that video, you might want to actually check that out because this video will make a lot of sense. And if you guys don't want to miss any videos or anything like that, make sure you guys check out the link in the description for the newsletter. It's completely free, no spam, and you could unsubscribe anytime. My name is Ango. This is Destination Pro Wrestling. AEW possibly signing 2 former WWE superstars. We got to talk about it. Samoa Joe, Chelsea Green. We're going to go one by one, talk about how it can happen. And I got a very interesting fantasy booking situation for Samoa Joe. So I would appreciate if you guys watch this video in its entirety. And I really hate to ask you guys for likes, but we've been growing very significantly lately. So because I never really ask for likes, I'm hoping maybe you guys could help me out. If you guys are active on this channel, drop a like. Let's see if we can hit 75 likes on this video. And if you like this video, let me know in the comment section so I can personally thank you. All right, Chelsea Green. Let's talk about Chelsea Green. She was released by WWE. What happened? Why did WWE release her? Well, the rumor is budget cuts. But here's the thing. WWE never fully committed to Chelsea Green, and now Chelsea Green is actually teasing to sign with AEW. She tweeted Penta L0M that she'll see him a lot sooner. And basically, here's the thing, guys. Chelsea Green, AEW, if you guys didn't know, there's actually a lot of ties to their relationship. You see, Chelsea Green is engaged to Zack Ryder. They are both very good friends with Cody and Brandy Rhodes. And of course, Tony Khan needs to strengthen this women's division. There are a lot of rumors flying around that Tony Khan and the team at AEW are interested in bringing her in. Now, here's the thing. Chelsea Green, you may actually not remember a lot from her run with WWE, and that's unfortunate because she's really good, but WWE never really committed to Chelsea Green, and that's their fault. Look, here's the thing. AEW has a lackluster women's division. They need to grow this women's division, and it's not going to be easy. They have a lot of potential. This past week on Dynamite, they actually showed a glimpse of how good it could be. They're really building Tay Conti and Hikaru Shida. I really love that matchup. But the biggest problem with AEW is the failure to have more characters. I think that's one of the biggest things I've never really understood about AEW. It's a good wrestling product. There's good wrestling matches. But I think entertainment-wise, there needs to be some good storylines across the board. Not saying that they're not good storylines, but in the women's division specifically, that seems to be the issue. Now, if you guys didn't know, Chelsea Green used to play a character on Impact Wrestling. She was known as Laurel Van Ness, and it was really dope. It was like a really dope gimmick. The hot mess character was really sick, and there was a lot of cool stuff happening at that time with Impact. And I would say that, Impact has always had a great women's division, but specifically when Chelsea Green was there, I think it was really, really dope. It was a really good time. They did a wedding angle. Wedding angles in pro wrestling usually suck. That one was great. It worked out very well, and I was a fan of it. I think AEW needs to bring in Chelsea Green to have Laurel Van Ness and Impact and AEW. That's right. Both people that I'm talking about today, Chelsea Green and Samoa Joe, should be doing a dual contract, one with AEW and one with Impact. So this is why. Chelsea Green going to AEW can be a really great way of her bringing back the hot mess character. It just really worked out well for her in the past. I was hoping WWE would have brought her in with that character. They didn't. Look, AEW can utilize this character. They could even put her in Impact as well, get some matches going over there. But most importantly for AEW, they need to start strengthening this women's division. The best way to do that is by creating storylines tailored to characters. And this is one of those characters where it can work out very well. Look, AEW has a good women's division in terms of roster. They're developing, they're getting better. This is the way to really get people invested. And on top of that, Impact has a great women's division as well. I think it's time AEW makes that call and gets them more integrated into their product as well. And I think we're going to see more of that down the line. Chelsea Green, obviously being friends with Cody and Brandy Rhodes, obviously her tweeting about seeing Penta, a lot sooner it makes a lot of sense. Again, business decision wise, AEW needs to do this. It makes a lot of sense. And if you're not a fan of her, or if you're not really familiar with her, I think this is the great platform for AEW to actually create a new star. Because clearly WWE was not committed, and their failure to commit to her push, I mean, it kind of falls on them. And for whatever reason, she blocks me on Twitter. I'm not sure why, but hey, it is what it is. Now, with that being said, Samoa Joe, right? If you guys made it to this point in the video, just stick with me for a little bit longer. Samoa Joe, released by WWE. Why? Well, it sounds like Samoa Joe wanted to wrestle and WWE could not clear him. Samoa Joe suffered a really bad concussion while shooting a WWE 2K commercial. And ever since, he's been pretty much promoted to the commentary team. WWE did not want him on commentary, and they would not let him wrestle because he's not cleared. So again, budget cuts is WWE's reason for everything, but since he's not cleared to wrestle, that's pretty much a dead contract, right? They're not going to use him for commentary. They can't use him for wrestling. They're not going to clear him. Now, the actual status of Samoa Joe wrestling is very interesting because obviously doctors have to get involved and clear him, which I would hope to think that AEW's medical staff obviously wouldn't clear him if, right, like, you know, if it didn't make sense, if it couldn't happen health-wise, whatever. But Scott D'Amore from Impact Wrestling had a very interesting tweet about these superstars who will be cleared from their non-compete clause in 90 days. It'll be taking place right around Slammiversary. And what better way to have Samoa Joe come back to Impact Wrestling? But now you're probably wondering about the AEW and Impact working relationship and how you could bring in Samoa Joe. So leave this to me, Ango, the guy who can really fantasy book this well. Let me know what you guys think. Samoa Joe, obviously Impact Wrestling OG, makes his return to Slammiversary. At this point in time, Slammiversary, Kenny Omega would be the AEW and Impact champion. That's right. Kenny Omega is competing against Rich Swann at the Rebellion pay-per-view. I fully expect Kenny Omega to be both world champions, right? Like he's going to hold both titles. Now, somebody in Impact needs to be a new champion and a new star for the company. My prediction is that's going to be Moose. Moose will compete against Kenny Omega at Slammiversary. Moose will be the big-time babyface representing Impact Wrestling, and I think Slammiversary would begin a huge Impact versus AEW storyline. In fact, I'm even predicting AEW will buy Impact Wrestling, and we're going to talk about that in another video, so make sure you guys subscribe. But Moose versus Kenny Omega at Slammiversary. Kenny Omega, the Good Brothers, you know, all these AEW people get involved. Look, Kenny Omega drops the belt to Moose. Why? Samoa Joe comes to the defense of Moose. And this makes a lot of sense. Obviously, Samoa Joe being an Impact Wrestling OG, it makes a lot of sense for him to get involved, come to the defense of Moose. You know, he's not really doing it for Moose. He's not really doing it for any other reason than to protect Impact Wrestling from AEW. Samoa Joe can cut a promo on the next episode of Impact, and he can talk about this. And most importantly, what this is going to do is allow Samoa Joe to also work for AEW, right? So AEW not only gets the benefit of their superstar, Kenny Omega, dropping the title, but it also gives them the option to have them drop a title in a way that maybe isn't necessarily clean. So Kenny Omega drops the title, Samoa Joe gets involved, and now there's an AEW versus Impact storyline. And that, my friends, is where we get to Samoa Joe versus Kenny Omega at AEW All Out in Chicago, their first event with fans in attendance outside of Daisy's Place, Jacksonville. I think this is a great way of fantasy booking it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm stupid. Maybe I don't know shit about wrestling, but that's for you guys to decide. So let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think. 75 likes. Can we hit it? Let me know, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.